Once upon a time, by the edge of a crystal-clear lake, there was a large, old house hidden among colorful flowers. The wooden shutters of this house were always closed, disappearing into the darkness at night. The children in the area believed that the house was cursed and never dared to go near it. However, one day, 10-year-old Emily and her friend Jack decided to gather their courage and explore the house. While playing by the lake, Emily and Jack stood in front of the house. "Jack, aren't you curious about what's inside this house?" asked Emily. Jack, a bit hesitant, replied, "Yes, but I've always been too scared." Emily smiled. "Maybe today we can be brave." Emily and Jack walked towards the house's garden. As they moved through the flowers, a cold breeze blew, and the branches of the trees shook eerily. When they reached the large door, Emily pushed it open, and it creaked loudly. Inside, they were met with a dark hallway dimly lit. Emily pulled a small flashlight from her pocket and shone it around. The inside of the house was covered in dust, with old portraits hanging on the walls. The eyes in the portraits seemed to follow Emily and Jack, sending a chill down their spines, but their curiosity won out. "Let's keep going," said Emily. As they moved deeper into the house, they heard whispers coming from one of the rooms. "What is that sound?" whispered Jack. "I think we're not alone in this house," replied Emily. The whispers led them to a large room. In the center of the room was a big table surrounded by old, worn-out chairs. On the table were an ancient book and some candles. Emily walked over to the book and opened it. The pages were filled with strange symbols and cursed stories. Just then, a scream echoed from every corner of the house. Emily and Jack looked at each other in fear. "This place doesn't feel right," said Jack. Suddenly, the candles on the table lit up on their own, casting an eerie glow around the room. The doors slammed shut and locked themselves. Emily and Jack tried to escape, but found the doors wouldn't budge. Panicking, they looked around the room, unsure of what to do. At that moment, the faces in the old portraits started to move. The people in the portraits looked at Emily and Jack with pain expressions. "Help us, ... double quotes," they whispered. As Emily and Jack's hearts pounded with fear, the book began to turn its pages by itself, and a strange figure appeared in the middle of the room. This figure was made of shadows, exuding a terrifying coldness. The figure slowly approached Emily and Jack, who were frozen in place. Jack, thinking quickly, grabbed the book from the table and started reading the symbols aloud. Emily helped him, and as they read the symbols correctly, the figure suddenly vanished. The doors opened again, and the children quickly ran out of the house. When they reached the lake, they were out of breath. "This house is truly cursed," said Emily. Jack nodded. "We should never come back here." From that day on, Emily and Jack avoided even passing by the house. The old house remained standing by the lake, as mysterious and terrifying as ever. Only Emily and Jack knew what had happened there, and that secret disappeared with them into the dark waters of the lake. It was a rainy night, illuminated by a full moon. The streets of the metropolis were deserted and silent. Only the lights of the streets reflected the sparkle of the raindrops. Lisa and Rachel were walking under the shadows of skyscrapers, heading to a friend's birthday party. They hurried with their umbrellas in hand under the rain. "This weather is really creepy," said Lisa. Rachel replied, "Yes, but the party by the beach will be amazing." However, they felt a sense of unease inside. It felt as if something was pulling them. As their steps grew heavier, they changed their path and started walking towards the beach. When they reached the beach, the rain had stopped, but the sky was still dark. The bright light of the moon danced on the waves. The two women felt that something was wrong in the silence. In the distance, an old pier caught their eye. As they approached the pier, they felt a strange energy. On the pier, they found an old book on the ground. The book was covered with ancient symbols, and when they opened it, they saw strange, unreadable writings. Rachel asked, "What could this be?" Lisa whispered, "Maybe a spell book." At that moment, the air around them turned cold, and the moonlight became even brighter. Shadows began to move on the pier. Suddenly, the shadows started to take shape. Long-robed figures with fiery eyes appeared. Rachel and Lisa stepped back in fear. One of the figures hissed, "You made a grave mistake by opening this book." The figures started circling around them, and a dark energy spread out. The two women tried to run away, but found they couldn't leave the pier. They wanted to let go of the book, but it seemed stuck to their hands. Rachel screamed in fear, "What are we going to do?" Lisa, in desperation, started turning the pages of the book and reading aloud. At that moment, the figures around them disappeared with a scream. But the relief was short-lived. A huge, terrifying creature emerged from the waves. The creature's body was covered in seaweed, and its eyes were icy cold. The creature started advancing towards the two women. Default with one last hope, Lisa and Rachel read the symbols on the last page of the book. Suddenly, a bright light appeared, and the creature retreated. The light surrounded the two women, protecting them. The creature hissed and withdrew back into the sea. Lisa and Rachel found themselves on the shore, trembling and out of breath. The book had vanished from their hands, and the weather returned to normal. Rachel said, "This place is truly cursed." Lisa replied, "We should never come back here." After that night, Lisa and Rachel never went back to that beach. However, rumors continued to circulate about magical and terrifying events happening on the pier on full moon and rainy nights. And so the chilling night experienced by the two young women remain one of the dark secrets of the metropolis.